Where do humans truly come from? Spinosa's and Deleuze's hidden answer. What if your sense of unified identity is nothing but an elaborate construction designed to keep you compliant? Not a divine truth, not a natural fact, but a carefully engineered system of control masquerading as reality. Where Spinosa dismantled the god of religion, Deleuze goes further. He dismantles the very self that religion claimed God created. Imagine, just for a moment, that the story you have been told about your sense of unified identity was never meant to enlighten you, but to organize you, to channel your infinite potential into predictable patterns, to transform your natural multiplicities into a single, manageable identity that serves systems far larger than yourself. Spinosa showed us that God was not a distant ruler, but the substance of all reality. Deleuze takes this further. If God is substance, then you are not a creation, but a mode of that substance. And modes do not have fixed essences, they have becomings. Tonight, we explore how Deleuze's concept of multiplicity completely transforms our understanding of your sense of unified identity. Where Spinoza freed us from the tyranny of a personal God, Deleuze frees us from the tyranny of a personal self. This is not abstract theory. This is a roadmap to escape the most sophisticated prison ever designed, the one you call your identity. His name, Gilles Deleuze, and his ideas about your sense of unified identity will change everything. Gilles Deleuze was not just another French intellectual playing word games in Parisian cafes. Born in 1925, he lived through the collapse of old certainties and dedicated his life to demolishing what remained. His work was not banned like Spinoza's, but something perhaps more insidious happened. It was marginalized, dismissed as too difficult by those who understood exactly what threat it posed. Like Spinoza, Deleuze was considered dangerous, but where Spinoza threatened religious authority by reimagining God, Deleuze threatened every institution by reimagining you. Why was he so dangerous? Because he revealed that the fundamental assumptions about your sense of unified identity that underpin our entire civilization are not natural facts, but political constructions designed to make you useful, predictable, controllable. Think about what this means for your sense of unified identity. Every assumption you have accepted about this dissolves under his analysis. Deleuze shows us that you are not one. Inside what you call I there exist countless flows, forces, intensities, all intersecting and diverging without any central command. The unity is an illusion imposed by language and reinforced by institutions that require you to be predictable. Let me make this concrete with the specific issue raised in your title. Como a humanidade nasceu? Explicação de Spinoza. Where Spinoza might have addressed this by showing how God is not a personal creator, but infinite substance, Deleuze takes us deeper. The question is not whether your sense of unified identity is true or false in some absolute sense, but what function this belief serves, what systems it maintains, what possibilities it forecloses. Think of how institutions handle you right now. Schools do not just teach you facts, they organize your mind into hierarchical categories, proper sequences, linear progressions. Jobs do not just demand labor. They organize your time, your energy, your very identity around productive roles. Medicine does not just treat illness, it organizes your body according to norms of function that serve systems of profit and control. What if you refused this organization? Not through dramatic rebellion, but through subtle shifts, unexpected connections, lines of flight that open when you stop trying to be one coherent person and allow your multiplicities to express themselves. Deleuze worked with psychoanalyst Felix Guattari to show how capitalism and psychoanalysis work together to maintain the fiction of the unified self. Capitalism needs you to be a consistent consumer, worker, citizen. When your multiplicities threaten to break through, when you feel anxiety, depression, strange desires, psychoanalysis provides the technology to repair you, to restore proper function. But what if your so-called disorders are actually your multiplicities trying to express themselves? What if your anxiety is not chemical imbalance, but your body and mind rebelling against patterns that violate your flows? What if your depression is not lack but exhaustion from pretending to be one when you are many? This is where Deleuze becomes truly dangerous. He does not just critique the system, he shows you how to escape it. Through multiplicity, through allowing your desires to produce realities that serve no master, through experimenting with what your body can do when freed from proper function. Deleuze lived his philosophy in ways both profound and tragic. His lectures at Vincennes University became legendary, packed with students and activists hungry for philosophy that gave them weapons, not just interpretations. He rarely appeared in public, refusing the celebrity other French intellectuals cultivated, understanding that philosophy is not performance but experimentation. In his final years, suffering from severe respiratory illness, unable to breathe or work, he made a choice that embodied his philosophy. In 1995, he stepped from his apartment window. Some call it suicide. But perhaps it was the ultimate line of flight, the final becoming, refusing to let his body be captured by medical organization, choosing his own end rather than the slow decay institutions demanded. His work survives as a toolbox, not a system. Every concept is designed to be used, modified, connected to your own situation. He did not want disciples. He wanted experimenters. So what does this mean for you right now with the specific question raised by this video? It means you can stop trying to be one and start exploring what happens when you allow your multiplicities to coexist, to produce different realities without forcing them into false unity. This is not chaos. It is the most rigorous discipline, staying attentive to your flows, noticing when you are being captured by codes that do not serve you, finding lines of flight when organization becomes prison. It means thinking and living rhizomatically, making unexpected connections, growing in directions no one authorized. Where Spinosa taught us that God is not outside nature but is nature, Deleuze teaches that you are not inside identity but are becoming. Where Spinosa dissolved the transcendent God, Deleuze dissolves the transcendent self. In the heart of this philosophy lies a promise more radical than any religion ever offered. You are not finished. You are not fixed. You are not property of any creator, any institution, any identity. You are a multiplicity producing new configurations, a rhizome growing in directions impossible to predict or control. The suffering you feel often comes not from lack, but from blocked flows, from desires unable to connect, from becomings that are forbidden, from your body refusing its assigned organization. What if your pain is not something to cure, but something to follow, pointing toward lines of flight you have not yet discovered? Deleuze paid a price for this thought. His ideas were dismissed as incomprehensible, too complex, impractical. Even his death was used to argue that his philosophy leads nowhere, but his concepts survive, carried by those who understand that true thought is not passive understanding, but active experimentation with your own existence. The call is clear. Stop trying to be one. Stop accepting the organization imposed on your body, your desires, your thought. Stop believing stories that explain everything while changing nothing. You are multiplicity. You are becoming. You are potential without limit. Spinoza freed us from the tyranny of the divine. Deleuze completes the liberation by freeing us from the tyranny of the self. The question Deleuze leaves you with is not who am I, but what can I become? Not what do I lack, but what can I produce? Not what is my true self, but what happens when I stop believing in a true self and start experimenting with the infinite becomings available to me. This is not coming from books or lectures. It comes from the courage to experiment with your own life, to follow desires that make no approved sense, to discover what your body can do when freed from proper function, to think in ways that serve no system, to become other without apology or explanation. The revolution is already here. It is in every moment you refuse to be one. Every time your multiplicities break through the organization imposed on them, every line of flight you follow toward becomings, no authority can predict or control. The choice is yours. Remain organized, unified, useful to systems that profit from your compliance, or embrace your multiplicities, discover your becomings and flow where power cannot follow. Deleuze does not tell you which to choose. He only shows you that the choice exists, and that it has always existed, waiting for the courage to recognize it.